We will now discuss principles of democracy. This is week 4, section 2. In week 4, section 1, we have discussed the concept of democracy. We talked about the historical concept of democracy, starting with the Athens concept of democracy. Then we moved on to the modern concept of democracy. Now we will discuss principles of democracy. Although there is no complete agreement on principles of democracy, the following principles are commonly accepted and can serve as a good guide concerning the meaning of democracy. Respect for individuality and for the conditions that promote the growth of human personality. Confidence in human intelligence formed and informed through the process of free autonomous inquiry. The rights and responsibility for appropriate participation in investigation and resolution of problems of shared concern. So, these would be the ideals, the principles of democracy, that is, there is respect for individuality. There are conditions created to promote the growth of human personality. Then there is confidence in human intelligence and to form a free and autonomous inquiry. That is, you are given freedom to process your knowledge, to exercise your knowledge, to acquire knowledge, and also the rights and responsibility for appropriate participation in investigation, which means that you are one of the principles of democracy is you participate in voting, you participate in exercising your rights to elect your representatives, you elect representatives according to your choice. You are not forced to elect a particular representatives. You have full freedom because your voting is based on secret ballots and no one knows who you are going to vote for. And this is one of the very principle of democracy, the rights to vote, to elect your representative. Now let us discuss these one by one. First, we will discuss respect for individuality. What do you mean by respect for individuality? Respect for individuality is one of the principles of democracy. So, an individual who, for example, believes that individual significance is related to the extent of his identification with the society to which he belongs will give one meaning to individuality. And a person who believes in an individual significance on the basis of her individuality alone will give entirely a different meaning to it. It follows that they will hold radically different opinions concerning the conditions that can best promote the growth of human personality. Respect for individuality involves a distinction between public and private affairs. Depending on such distinction, a fitting adjustment is needed between individual independence and social control, which simply means that if you have some personal problems, it should not affect what you do in public, because a person who have some personal problems should differentiate between what is public and what is personal. So, when we talk about respect for individuality, it involves a distinction between public and private. You respect a person because of his public position, because of his job, because of his official position, and then it should not go beyond what he does in his private life, because respect for individuality means you should distinguish between public and private affairs. You should not judge a person because he has certain personal image or certain personal personal problems. You should respect the individuality for what he or she is, that is on the basis of his public job, because of what he does for the public and so on. So this is one of the very important principle of democracy, which is respect for individuality. And to make a fitting adjustment between the two, some rules of conduct must be imposed by the law in the first place. What these rules should be is a principal question in human affairs. What does Stuart Mill say in this regard? Stuart Mill offers the following guide, that the only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized community against his will is to prevent him to harm others. His own good, either physical or moral, is not a sufficient warrant. He cannot rightfully be compelled to do an act because it will make him happier, or because it will be better for him to do, or because in the opinion of others to do so would be wise or right. So when we talk about one of the principles of democracy, it means you should not harm others, you should exercise your rights properly, and you cannot harm others, and you cannot as a member of a civilized community, as a member of a civilized society, you cannot in a way harm others or bring create obstacles for others. So this is what Stuart Mill says. The only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized society against is to prevent him to harm others. These are good reasons for persuading him but not for compelling him. We have right to deter a person or compel him not to do certain acts only in case where his actions cause harm to others. So when we talk about principles of democracy, yes, you have rights, you have certain rights, you have the principles of democracies where these ideals have to be upheld. You can approach the court of law if you feel that your rights are being neglected or there has been discrimination against you, you are not given your full rights and so on. But at the same time, your actions, if your actions cause harm to others, then you are compelled not to do certain acts wherein your actions will harm others. This is where the court of law comes into focus. So this is the very principle of democracy. You exercise your rights, but also at the same time you also give freedom for others to exercise their rights. You do not harm others, or you do not create an obstacle for others to exercise their rights. John Dewey also once pointed out that individuals may be allowed to behave as they please until the harmful effects of their actions are noted by other persons. Individuals may thus be deterred to throw garbage on the street. So I hope you understand this particular example. You have the right to do whatever you want, but not at the point of harming other members of the society or to create obstacle for others to live peacefully in the society. For example, you cannot throw garbage on the street. You should go and throw garbage on a proper dustbin, because if you throw garbage on the street, you are creating environmental problem, you are creating pollution. So even though you have certain rights, you should not exercise these rights to bring a harm to others or to create pollution or environmental problems and so on. For example, you have automobile manufacturers who make cars, but you have full freedom to make cars, but at the same time you should be careful to equip the new automobiles which can control pollution. The cars or the automobiles should be created, should be manufactured in such a way that it controls pollution, and the very car that you make, the very car that you manufacture should not create pollution and should not be a burden to the country and bring about what is called pollution, environmental problem and so on. The point to be noted here is that the respect for individuality entails recognition of some area of privacy and independence. It never implies for allowing to do what he or she pleases. I'll repeat, this is a very important principle of democracy. The respect of individuality entails recognition of some areas of privacy and independence. Yes, to some extent you can exercise your rights, you're independent, you have privacy, you have the right to exercise certain rights, but at the same time you cannot allow individuals to do what he or she pleases, because this will be harmful for the others. It will create obstacle for other members of the society. Then let us move on to what is called by confidence in human intelligence. What do you mean by confidence in human intelligence? Before we can set out to embark upon the question how democracy and confidence and human intelligence are related to each other, it is important to understand what exactly the phrase confidence in human intelligence implies vis-a-vis democracy. Does it mean that the intelligence is spread evenly throughout a population? The truth and right can be determined by majority vote, that the popular opinion is always right? It means that we are not afraid to follow truth wherever it may lead, or to tolerate error. In the scientific or democratic community, the expert, the genius, the gifted, the talented can be set free to develop their ideas, and equally important, the less gifted can find honorable work to do and get command a fair hearing for their own ideas or suggestions. So, this is another principle of democracy when we talk about confidence in human intelligence. In a democratic country, in a democratic society, you have the talented, the gifted, the genius who are free to develop their ideas, and also at the same time the less gifted, the less talented can also have a platform where they can suggest ideas or have their own, they can also command a fair hearing for their own ideas, which means that one of the principles of democracy is where both the gifted and the less gifted can exist side by side. Now, what do we mean by rights and responsibilities for appropriate participation? We have talked about confidence in human intelligence. Now, let us talk about rights and responsibilities for appropriate participation. In the context of appropriate participation, democracy implies that every member of a given public has the right to participate in the investigation and resolution of the problem. It further implies that the individual has an interest and concern for the public and its interests and problems. The individual in a way feels embedded into the public because of having such a sense of belongingness to the society, that is the public. The right of participation carries with it the responsibility to exercise that right. However, regarding the nature of participation, it does not follow that direct personal participation is necessary or even appropriate in different kinds of problems that arise. In democracy, such appropriate or feasible means of participation needs to be devised in different situations. It is not the case that all questions should be settled by a simple majority. Any autonomous group, whether democratic or scientific, must struggle with the problem of devising the criteria or the design for the control of judgment and decision making. So, when we talk about this particular principle of democracy, which is rights and responsibilities for appropriate participation, we are talking about when individuals, when members of the society participate in exercising their democratic rights, they are taking part in the decision making of the country. Which means that when you vote for your candidate, when you elect your representative, you are electing a representative who will represent you in the government, and it is this government which makes policies, which implements policies for the country. So, you have rights and responsibility as a citizen, as a member of the society, to participate in the decision making process of the government. And your contribution is very crucial, because in a democratic country, in a democratic situation, it is very important for people to exercise their rights, people to exercise and cast their vote, elected representatives without any discrimination on the basis of caste, color, creed. So in today's discussion, we have discussed the principles of democracy. In this principles of democracy, we have discussed three very important points, which are respect for individuality and for the condition that promote the growth of human personality. So this is one of the principles of democracy. You respect individual, and the respect for individual should be not affected by his personal problems or his personal image, because what he or she does in public, what he does as a member of the society for the public good of all, is very important for us to recognize his or her contribution. And you should respect individuality. There should be a demarcation between what is public and what is private. Then we have talked about confidence in human intelligence, where we talked about where the less gifted, the less talented exist side by side with the gifted or the talented. And also we have talked about the rights and responsibilities for appropriate participation in investigation and resolution of problems of shared concern, which means that you take part in the government, you take part in the decision making process of the government, you are part of the democratic process. So these are the very important principles of democracy that we have discussed today. So with this, we have completed week 4 section 2, which is principles of democracy. We have also completed concept of democracy. In the last lecture, which is week 4 section 3, we will be discussing another aspect of democracy. Till then, thank you.